favorite is the one where I found my first 2 derelict cars.
Yeah?
Yep. He is the one where I found the first 2. No.
Daddy, guess what?
No.
I've been watching True Blood. I'm on season 2.
That's cool.
I can't. All I can think about is when we were first, like, when we got back together, and we were like dating at Lucky's, and we were going to Lucky's all the time, and we watched True Blood and would drink beer.
Yeah.
So, Mom.
Yeah, baby doll.
Just asking, why'd you call, by the way? Oh, that's right.
I called to tell you that I quit. I'm taking the day off.
Okay. So, Mom. Guess what?
Chicken butt.
No.
What?
Yes.
You just won your campaign and are able to unlock another car.
No, you have 5 derelict cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many I have?
5.
No. I don't have the beetle quite yet.
Oh. It smells like mint.
That's the last. I have 4 derelict cars that I found.
Yeah?
First up, let me tell you all the names. A C10 Chevy,
Mm-hmm.
a Nissan, another Chevy, a 55 Chevy Bel Air.
Ooh.
And what was the last one? Oh, Ford Mustang, 65 Ford Mustang.
Ooh, dang.
Now I just need the 1963 Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah. And then it'll be just like a done deal. You'll have the full package.
And some are in storage, some are not.
Okay. It's pretty
some
cool.
stay in storage because my garage does not have enough space. I buy more garages and guess what? Then I can store more cars.
Yes.
And then
that is how it works.
Actually, no, yeah, you just buy more garages, so then every time you're far away and you don't want to drive all the way to a garage, you can just go to the closest one to you, because I'm going to have every single one. And I've only found 12 out of 19 gas stations.
You know, when I was your age, the Need for Speed is the only game that I liked to play, really.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
Porsche Unleashed. That's the one that I liked.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Oh, Mom. The other day, me and my dad found a movie, and guess what it is?
What?
Kirby Goes to Monte Carlo, but guess what?
It's on VHS.
Obviously. It's sealed. It's still in the plastic wrap.
Nice.
Factory wrap.
It's still got that crisp factory wrap.
Wait a minute, that's tape. That's tape going in the middle. It is.
Well, if you look, that's where the 2 layers come together.
Oh.
The seam.
What does you feel over here? It feels like tape.
It's not, it's just the overlap. See how it's overlapped?
Yeah.
It's wrapped like a present, Elliot.
Let me show you. See?
Yep. Oh, well, while you're here.
Just a little bit of a hole up there, that's it.
Look!
When you click it. Yeah? I like it. How'd you do that?
I knitted it. And then look.
That looks better.
Yeah, right? So this is when I was first learning. And this is how I accelerated. It looks so, doesn't it? Isn't that, look at this pattern, Elliot. Isn't it so satisfying?
Yeah.
Touching it is tingles.
Yeah.
No, in a good way, though. Like how satisfying videos.
Mom.
Love.
Guess what?
Harry Potter?
And it's on VHS.
I see that.
We have one and two, but I just need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'll be right there, Orly. Hold on. I gotta go get Orly.
I just need 7 more.
You need 7 more?
I need 7 more.
You have 3, but you need 7?
No, I have 2, but I need 7.
There's only 8, baby.
Yeah, there's only 8. I need 6 movies. 6. Isn't that crazy? I need 6.
Oh, hell
Harry
no.
Potter.
For the love of all that is freaking holy. No matter how hard I try. Always stepping in shit.
Wait, you stepped in poo?
Ah!
You stepped in poo?
Yes.
You help me.
Mm.
Please help me. Reading. I can't get this off.
What's up with that?
I don't want to.
But you got this. I don't. Please stop inside turning everything inside.
Come on, Orly, inside. Hey, where are you going? All right, you're not gonna get a treat. Fine.
Okay.
Dude, this sneaky dog. God
Put
damn
those
it.
shorts on earlier.
Oh, get back over here. Hey.
Please don't inside out the fucking seat. I just asked you not to do that. But please put them somewhere where you know where they're going to be. Not somewhere somewhere. Put them somewhere where you know where they're going to be.
I told you you could do that. You are dog. Dog is obedient.
Come on.
You gotta be orledient. Or don't be orledient. Be obedient. You're not a leader. You're an orbeater.
Come on.
Chicken.
I love Need for Speed Payback. It's one of the best Need for Speeds nowadays.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, how old is that game? Oh, it's 25 years old. Well, unless it came out in like May. That would mean it's 24 years old.
All right, hey.
Yeah,
I'm gonna scram.
okay.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you in a couple of hours. And
Okay.
try to go around the house and help your dad, because dad can't see. Help dad get your shit together. Okay? It's been 2 months, so you've been at dad's for a long time. So help daddy out.
Light there, and light there, and light there. That should not be.
Oh,
I don't know why that's there.
Josh, look.
Uh-huh.
Oh, hi, Orly. Orleanian.
Oh, cool.
Like that? Yeah, Orledient. That's his
I don't know what those are for.
his Catholic Christian name. Orledient Elizabeth.
I'm not sure what that's there for.
All right, I love you.
It's gone. Here, bud. Here.
Bye.
But
Josh, don't forget to talk to the place.
Well, they're not open, so I can't.
You can call them.
They're not open.
Leave them a message.
All right, press pause on that so you can actually hear what Mom's saying.
I was talking to you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but I can't hear you because of that.
Oh, all right. Well, don't worry about it. I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
Bye, Mom. Peace and dribble.
Peace and dribble.
Bye.
Hang up, Daddy.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. What? Did you hear that? He said, Mom. Did you hear that? Yes, baby, what? Tomorrow. He'll be here tomorrow. What, buddy? Something's been slam-bamming all night. Is it this? Oh, it's this one right here. Okay. There we go. I won't do that anymore. How did you get in there, little bug? This is the diffuser. Trash bag is missing. The amount of water that my diffuser takes is exactly 1 cup of coffee's worth. It's funny. It's like exactly a coffee cup full. Also, I found out that I can diffuse my perfume. It's a thing. It could be done. It could be done. Could knit my hair. Hi, sissy. Have a good day. Orly, calm it down, bud. Thanks, Michelle. I really like having a solid relationship with my ex-husband. It's not always been easy. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's what's in Elliot's best interest is to have his parents on the same page, or at the very least, being kind to one another. Like, even if we can't get along, even if we can't, like, or not can't get along, but even if, like, we are fundamentally, everything about the way we lived our lives was just fundamentally different, even in that case, I would still be nice. You know, I would still be cordial and be nice. Have a good day. Dude, yarn is fun. I'm waiting. I need to meet up with a neighbor. I'm going to try to meet with her today and get some yarn today. Dude, this is getting to be really fucking annoying. Go. I literally had you outside. You were on the lead. You were perfectly happy. You could go eat your food right there. Go get it. Your food right there. I'm not making food right now, and I'm not eating. I'm not doing anything that is... I'm not... Even if I was, I wouldn't give you any food. Okay, you want to go back outside on the lead? Okay. But you're going to stay outside. Okay? You gonna keep an eye on everything for me, Money? Okay. You gonna watch out on it, make sure everyone's being good? Money's like the supervisor, the manager. Money just sits and watches. I always know if Orly has gone somewhere he's not supposed to go, because Money will be sitting there and she'll look over at him. So if I just look at her, I'll know where he is in the yard. Like if he's out of sight. All right, let's knit, y'all. Oh my gosh, Nikki, you should change your name to K-N-I. Nitki. You better not be chasing them chickens! Sounded like a chicken. Startled.
Today's the day. We are finally finishing this series where I took inspiration from this hand-knit Regency dress and another dress at the V&A to design my own version, but I was going to machine knit it. Of course, it wasn't very easy, and I had some hiccups along the way with my machine, and in the process of figuring that out, I ended up kind of taking a detour and making a really cute 1940s bed jacket. Last time, I was finally able to make some really large lace panels on my knitting machine so that we could sew it into an entire knit dress this time. Of course, I ran out of some yarn, but thankfully, it arrived quickly. It took a few days, but my highly anticipated order of more yarn arrived, and I was able to finish knitting the rest of the lace panels that I needed in order to make the dress. And again, because...
Oh, Nick Ricada has entered a guilty plea. No way. Oh, buddy. Kids. If you guys don't know about this Nick Ricada stuff, he's a YouTuber. He was like one of the biggest lawyers on YouTube. His channel had like 600,000, 700,000 subscribers. He was leading the charge with the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Like he was the main guy that people were watching, and he had like a bunch of people on panels and stuff like that. Ow. Ow. Oh God, that hurt so bad. But anyways, he has he got wealthy. He was already wealthy, I guess. He had a trust fund baby, but he made a lot of money on the YouTubes. And then he started doing lots of drugs. Meth and ketamine together apparently is like it's like really popular or something.
Welcome.
Is that what it's called? Is that what CK1 is? Calvin Klein? No, that's the other thing. And K. Okay. Because I've heard people talk about that. And I just had no idea what they were talking about until recently. But my brain just went on a total detour. So anyway, this Nick Rekieta guy, I mean, like, he got fucking caught in 4K. Like, his pastor reported him. He got one of his children tested positive for cocaine. Because there's just so much of it around and everywhere. And there were like little kids in the house and they weren't being fed and dad was taking them to school, geeked out and stuff. Like, it's wild. Wild. I am so grateful to be who I am and to have the people in my life that I do. What are you eating? Orly! Oh no. You gonna lay down and enjoy the sun? Oh, good boy. Okay. He's laying out in the yard. So Orly, I just remembered Orly has this, like, I can't have rabbits. Orly would just absolutely murder rabbits. He's like insane about rabbits. Specifically rabbits. Nothing else. I've never seen him act like that towards any other livestock, only rabbits. But so he's been like going crazy at the spot in the yard, and I just realized, like, oh fuck, dude, the grasses are getting tall. I hope to God that it's not a fucking baby rabbit nest that he's gotten into, but I don't think it is. He just laid down. It was probably the chicken pooped and he was trying to eat chicken poop, is more likely the case. No, stress ball, I'm not in my boss. Oh, it's itchy. I clean behind my ears so many times a day that, like, my skin is dry in my ears and behind my ears. The skin is just like dry as fuck, but I can't help it because, like, it gives me anxiety, the thought of having dirty ears. So I have to put like lotion on, to replace the moisture with a little Aquaphor. And then it won't hurt and bother me. Hello, welcome home. Okay, hopefully that will work. And I will stop feeling itchy behind my ears. Hello. I want to get you buttons so bad. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to get you guys buttons. Do you want to sit here? You want to come in here? You want to come sit here? You want to come sit in my lap? You want to come sit here? In my lap? Well, yeah, that's the heater. Trying to lure her with my other hand so she doesn't knock me off of what I'm doing. Okay.
hooked up. There's no audio. You got
It's not hooked up yet. The bathroom.
Let me try.
Adam,
There we go. Some people say, there we
is
go.
busy.
Audio.
Busy. That's not hooked up yet.
Okay. I wasn't saying anything for a couple seconds, so I'm hoping everybody's all right. I wasn't saying anything. Doing audio. I was just showing the document. So, let's get into this.
Yeah, I really do like castor oil. It's just I don't have any right now, and I never think to buy any whenever I have the money and I'm able to, or I'm a place where I can get some. I always end up forgetting. Okay, so pearl knit.
But they were saying this is big conspiracy, and I told you guys from day one. They got to the house based on the evidence. They were going to plead guilty, throw himself on the sword, and say, don't prosecute my wife and girlfriend, and that's what's going to happen. I said that time and time again. I said it time and time again. Now, I was called dumb. I was called an idiot. Nate's not a lawyer. Oh, yeah, even though they were the prosecutor, he was like, God, he doesn't know what he's talking about. My name was dragged through the mud. And I always said, listen, Nick's going to plead guilty. And in exchange, he's going to save the wife, save the girlfriend, and he's not going to give me jail time. He said that time and time again. Nick even called me a dummy. Everybody was on my behind. But today is the day that you understand that sometimes I know what the hell I'm talking about. So, you didn't come just to listen to me gloat about being right. But sometimes legal analysis is what it is. Legal analysis. And that's what I do. That's what I do. And, I told you guys, Nick is pleading guilty. So, that has happened. Here we go. Petition to enter plea of guilty. This was dropped today after Nick went in court and said, I'm a bad boy. Now, for those of you who don't know the story, Nicholas Rekieta is a very, very, very good friend of mine. No bones about it. That guy was a friend. I have no bones about it. Nick, I've been on his channel. He's been on this channel. Matter of fact, we have great videos together. Like there's a video that people still send me about when we were doing the whole "This is MAGA country." Most people remember the "This is MAGA country" for Jesse Smollett. So Nick is, I've been on his channel. I've met Nick in person. I met his wife in person. So these are not bad people. But see, he was kind of like he was one of the first like real law dudes. He blew up doing Rittenhouse. Nick, for those of you who watch the channel, you probably know Nick. I have a lot more people, so you guys might not know Rekieta, but he's got about 400,000 subs, and he blew up. He became like the largest live streamer on YouTube for a time when he was having like 100 or 200,000 people watching his live streams for Rittenhouse. Then the same thing with Johnny Depp. So he was, and Nick is still, no matter what happens, even now, Nick is still, I think, at heart, he's still a really good guy. This is not good. This though, because I said it in a Nigerian accent. So I was saying this because the Nigerian brothers had beat up Justice Smollett, and I was making fun of them saying that they had a heavy Nigerian accent because I just watched this short where the guys were beating of the fake Justice Smollett with a Nigerian accent. So the Nigerian accent was like, this brother is MAGA country. So I was saying it in a real like African, and it just was hilarious. It was hilarious, but it was just hilarious as the damn short. I don't know why I went into that sidetrack. But anyway, quick story. There once was a little pope that did awful coke. I like what you did there. I like it. Let me read it again. A quick
Blah, 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 blah.
You're going to plead? I'll go down to the end. In
Please,
the view of...
I just want to read the court documents. I don't care about the anecdotal stuff. Uh-oh.
Well, people like this need RFK Jr. more than ever.
Welcome back to What I Eat in a Day as a plus-size girly. Y'all, this is how you know I've always been overweight because this sweater is from 8th grade basketball. Isn't that crazy? Starting off strong,
Oh boy. As of course, will that person get RFK Jr. as now? There's a new kind of very interesting shadowy campaign with a lot of dark money trying to make sure that he never gets appointed as the next head of HHS. As it definitely does look like the establishment is putting out all the stops, trying to stop RFK Jr. As of course, they also put up a very not so nice photo of him up here as this fake petition, now with over 22,000 people allegedly doctors by the names of Dr. Fake, Dr. Seymour Butts, Dr. Nail Me Now, and others that, of course, anyone could just magically become, as we're going to unwind what's really happening here, as it really does seem like, holy cow, there are so many underhanded efforts right now to try to stop this happening. But why? What's really going on here? As of course,
Trump is gonna really hurt a lot of people's feelings.
Donald Trump, with how hard
he
going to be
doesn't
fighting for RFK
fight
Jr.
for
Will
RFK
he put
Jr.
out all the stops? Well, so far, Donald Trump's record is really good. There's one thing that we have to worry about, though. But again, it's the Senate that's going to be confirming
Israel
RFK
is the problem.
Jr. And there's individuals like Mitch McConnell that are looking like they are going to be individuals that don't play ball with Donald Trump, as Donald Trump right now is on a tear, though. So it's going to be important to see what kind of policies Donald Trump kind of puts out, what kind of larger negotiations he does in order to try to get RFK
with this
Jr.
fucking
in
knitting pattern.
that larger position of power within government. But so far, truly, he's been on par with just absolutely knocking it out the park with some of his policies and larger initiatives that are absolutely heroic, absolutely amazing. As, of course, he terminated Dr. Fauci's security detail and then later went on and said, yeah, they made a lot of money. They could hire their own security. As, of course, Dr. Fauci was just issued a pardon by Joe Biden retroactively for 2014 on, which makes a lot of people wonder what was he doing with maybe gain of function research, bioweapon lab research in Ukraine, maybe. As again, all we're kind of left here with is larger speculations, as currently there's a big freeze over at the HHS, CDC, NIH, as a lot of the big kind of government organizations are kind of silent as they wait to see about the future of those larger bureaucratic government organizations, as now under Donald Trump, it looks like they have stopped a lot of their work, as the Trump administration, even according to Fox News, is looking to stop gain of function research, which a lot of people believe got us into this mess. As, of course, gain of function research now, according to even U.S. government documents and Senate hearings and official declassified documents, was the thing that was happening at the Wuhan laboratory, something that, of course, we couldn't mention here on YouTube for quite a long time, as, of course, you were called a crazy conspiracy theorist. You were censored. You were deplatformed. You were deleted. You were ostracized. You were called a crazy kook. You were called someone that was trying to take the life of your grandma if you dare correlated and mentioned actual facts. As now we're getting statistical information that, by the way, RFK Jr. was right about this whole frickin' time, as this Trump administration truly is leading the way with rectifying a lot of the wrongs that were done to the general public all the way back in 2020 and 2021. As, of course, Donald Trump's pick for the CIA already is making a lot of big moves, as he just stripped Brennan and other spies who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop story of their security clearance. He closed down their DEI office, and more importantly, he also announced an assessment to the Wuhan laboratory with a potential leak that happened there that now will be investigated. As, of course, the CIA had a lot of connections here, not just to Dr. Fauci, but Peter Daszak, Echo Health Alliance, as also it was these larger intel agencies that later then went on and threatened social media companies if they dared to talk about their larger connections that the CIA helped foment, create, and pay for. So, yeah, as now, this is one of the scenarios that doesn't look too good for Donald Trump, and that, of course, is his larger tech initiative with AI and the medical industrial complex in order to develop and build mRNA technology that, of course, will be used for, quote, medical procedures. Now, this is a little bit worrying because Donald Trump has announced a $500 billion initiative into this, as we understand that, of course, individuals like Bill Gates are heavily invested in this tech, in this industry, and are set to profit here. As, of course, Bill Gates himself, just a few days ago, talked about how he had a wonderful 3-hour private discussion with Donald Trump and how they discussed propelling the mRNA technology, as a lot of people are now saying this larger, probably bigger initiative by Donald Trump will have some kind of strings connected to Bill Gates. Now, unlike Elon Musk, that usually is very transparent about where he puts his money, where he puts his influence, what he backs, what he believes in, Bill Gates does the opposite of that, as of course he operates in the shadows. He operates with a lot of dark money, and a lot of his money goes to a lot of really awful, nefarious causes and creates something called the Bill chill, which is important to understand here, especially in the scientific community, since a lot of doctors, scientists, investigators are scared to actually criticize any of Bill Gates' initiatives or investments, because if they do, a lot of their money, a lot of their funding is absolutely pulled from them in a very kind of retribution-like style. That's how Bill Gates operates. As of course, if you're his enemy, he takes a lot of his money and he gives it to all these organizations that give it to another organization, that give it to another organization, that then slander and viciously attack his political opponents. As of course, in this larger interview that he just did with the Wall Street Journal, he specifically talked about how RFK Jr. was someone that he obviously did not get along with, as there's a big difference between these two individuals. It's very oddly, both of them flew allegedly on the Lolita Express, but regardless of that, it's clear when it came to 2020, the record of how these individuals acted and their policy decisions were starkly different. And looking back at it, RFK Jr. was honest, he was real, and he was helping save people's lives, according to my own personal opinion. I would argue that Bill Gates and his record, especially with what was happening during 2020, he did the exact opposite of that, as he greatly benefited off of a lot of his investments, off of fear-mongering a lot, and, of course, creating, in my opinion, a lot of insurmountable damage. Now, before getting into this larger kind of Bill Gates shadowy dark money that probably now is largely connected to these secretive attacks against RFK Jr., we want to tell you about our store. WeAreChange.shop, a great shop filled with great
This is America's first BLM mayor. My name is Khalid. My name is Khalid. I am running to be your next mayor. I am running to be your next mayor. The election is tomorrow. The election is tomorrow. Who was arrested for burglary.
This afternoon, some residents in the city of South Fulton have called for the mayor to resign after his arrest over the weekend. Mayor Khalid Kamau faces burglary and trespassing charges after entering a property owner's home over the weekend.
Then, like the mayor of Los Angeles, he went to Ghana to party like a rock star on the taxpayer dime.
Now,
Why are so many American mayors going to Ghana's presidential election?
Using his city-approved credit card.
He gave this man $7,000 of our taxpayers' dollars.
New tonight, the mayor's response when we questioned him about the allegation.
And if you think that's not bad enough, the mayor just started spending the town's money like it was his own.
Some members of the public and at least one city council member accused the mayor of making tens of thousands of dollars in unauthorized expenditures.
We got a lot to talk about. This is Khalid Kamau, a Black Lives Matter legend. Now, he became America's first #Black Lives Matter community organizer elected to public office, and a shocking upset over an incumbent Democrat. Now, as mayor, he has listed some of his accomplishments on his website, like them declaring racism as a public health crisis. He's made Juneteenth a paid city holiday. He also wants to stop employees from asking job applicants about their past criminal history. And he also wants to eliminate Columbus Day in favor of Indigenous People Day. Now, the mayor describes himself as a college-educated community activist, Southern Black Christian socialist. So, why was he arrested for burglary? All right, here are the facts. On Saturday, July 9th, 2023, at about 6:50 in the morning, a homeowner called 911 to report a trespasser in his home. Now, the homeowner had video surveillance at a lake house that he used as a vacation home. Now, the mayor inadvertently tripped an alarm at the lake property. The homeowner then saw the mayor on the cameras going into the empty lake house. The homeowner got dressed, grabbed his gun, and drove to the lake house to see what's up. When the owner got got to his home, he saw the mayor inside and held him at gunpoint until police arrived. Now, the mayor allegedly could be heard on the 911 call stating, "Do you know who the F I am? I'm the mayor, and I'll wait for my police to get here and then see what happens." The homeowner then responded, holding the gun, "No, mother effer, you stay right there." So after police showed up and arrested the mayor for burglary, here's what the mayor told local news during his perp walk.
"I just wanted to see the house. I do apologize to the owners. I thought it was abandoned."
What do you say to your constituents?
I apologize for the negative attention this has brought to our city. I hope that the spotlight that is on our city right now will highlight some of the inequities that have been happening.
So you're guilty of the charges?
I think that's for the voters to decide.
Now, the mayor went back to work a couple of days later, and some in the community are calling for his resignation for the embarrassment of having a mayor charged with a major felony. Burglary is a major felony.
Some South Fulton residents have now called on the mayor to resign after his weekend arrest.
They say the mayor has been a disappointment and is bringing the city down. Fox 9's Angelique Proctor joins us live from South Fulton with the latest. Angelique.
Well, Courtney, we talked to 5 residents. All 5 of them say they want the mayor to resign now. And in a related development, I learned today that the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is now investigating the South Fulton County mayor. But Fonnie Willis's office would not say what the topic of its investigation
Fulton
is.
County,
Now, the
Georgia.
mayor claims that he will not resign. During his arraignment,
Fonnie
the judge
Willis.
requested a mental health examination to see if there's any mental issues going on with this mayor. Now, the mayor was charged with criminal trespass and burglary, which is a felony, and
that's where
booked
Josh
in the
wants
Fulton
me to-
County Jail.
we've been
He was
talking
held
about
on
going to that
$100,000
area.
bail until he was released. Now, after this whole ordeal happened over the weekend, here's what the mayor has said publicly about his arrest.
A lot has happened in the past few days, and some of you are eager to talk about it. Our city has never shied away from courageous conversations, and there will be time for all of that, and we will announce a time and place for those conversations to happen.
Here's a quick word from our sponsor, Ethos. What feeder strict, it's like helping your council voted that they didn't have confidence in this guy running their city.
South Fulton City Council says it has no confidence in its own mayor. This comes after the mayor claimed
His
the council
headshots,
created a
he's trying to look
culture
like Tyrese.
of corruption. It's been a fiery week in South Fulton, and that included tonight where multiple onlookers protested and had to be escorted out of the meeting.
In a room at capacity and at times in uproar, the city council made a unanimous vote of no confidence against their own mayor, Khalid Camus.
This city council is doing whatever they want to do.
This a few days after the mayor questioned the council's handling of a police investigation.
I blowing the whistle on this because as a mayor, the buck stops with me. And the end of this culture of corruption will also stop with me.
But
Fast
you
forward
are
to
a
Friday,
corrupt one.
Camus said this meeting was illegal, violating an Open Meetings Act. He said he also filed temporary restraining orders against the city attorney and all council members.
So they knew from the beginning this mayor was a disaster. And again, we're talking about his first 2 years in office. He's already been arrested for burglary. And on the top of that, the city council has voted no confidence in this mayor. And things could only get worse because the mayor can also spend taxpayer money. So what do you think happened? Well, the money started looking funny.
Bank records from the mayor's city-issued credit card shows more than $25,000 spent between October and December.
Is the city of South Fulton doing any business in Africa?
Not to my knowledge. That's not even a priority.
I went through the documents and discovered multiple plane tickets totaling more than $5,000, including this Air Kenya flight worth more than $1,500. There's also a $1,300 purchase for a drone, a $1,800 Amazon purchase, and $250 spent at a mall in Ghana.
Now, if this doesn't sound strangely familiar, you may be new to the channel, but we follow these crazy mayors all across the country. And this is exactly what someone like Tiffany Hinyard does. She
Why
takes
is
the
it
town's
that
credit
this
card and spends
I don't
like
understand why
crazy
these
and doesn't tell anyone.
mayors who have been elected because they're black or women or gay black women or whatever, okay, BLM people, like, why would you use that as an opportunity to be a criminal? Like, why would you fall for it? You have been given a pivotal opportunity. The country's demanding change. We want something different than the way it's been. And so we're willing to like give people a chance. Let's try this out. Okay, let's see how this works. We the people are supportive of something different. But what we don't want is in our face. They're playing in our faces. You know? And like, and it's systemic. It's obviously like Fulton County is crazy. And you know, Atlanta has always been the capital of that's like the if you're white and you're in Atlanta, you are like a minority for real. Like, it's always been that way. When I lived in Miami, Florida, we would have a Memorial Day like there was this thing, I think it was called Freak Week or something like that. And all these college people from Atlanta would come, and literally Miami became a totally different fucking place. You ready? Where's my boy? There you are. Ready? But anyways, like, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they take this opportunity? Let's go, come on. Why would they take this golden opportunity to prove that the white people were wrong about black people? Like, you know, like if this is all about racism and here, and this is all about, you know, like the color of skin and like, you know, systemic racism, this and systemic racism, that, then why the fuck, when you get to a position of power, why would you just do exactly what the evil white people say you were gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, why? It's so frustrating because like it's going to go there. The overcorrection that's going to happen is going to be racist. It is. Because that's just the way it works. When they always let something happen and then they overcorrect. And it's worse than it was before. If trans people think that they are like the number one way for trans people to lose their rights as people is to go in my face and demand that I change my way of living to suit someone that I don't even engage with on a regular basis or have anything to do with. That's the number one way to lose people. Vegans, same thing. Like, do you really think that by showing me vivisection, it's going to like make me not eat and sustain myself? Like, that's not the way to do it. If you want to convince me with all the chemicals and stuff like that in food. And then also don't sell me vegan leather that's just plastic. Or like, you know, I mean, fucking bleach is vegan. Wouldn't catch me fucking drinking that. It is so frustrating how this happens. Because literally, we could be already existing in a fucking... See, guys? See? You were wrong. See, you were wrong. Look at how fucking amazing these cities are doing now. Look at how great these mayors are. Look at how wonderful the fucking system is functioning now that we've removed all the evil white guys. And because it's totally about race, obviously. And we've just implemented all people of color across all the boards. You know what I mean? And gay women. You know that all of the firefighters in LA, the top three people in the fire community there that run the show are all lesbians. Like that there's no way in fucking hell that all three of those women beat out every single other fireman on the fucking job. There's just no way. I'm sorry, statistically, it's just not plausible. The amount of the population, you do statistics like the population, right? Numbers should, for the most part, in an equal and fair world, where you're merit based, like you're getting hired because of the job that you're doing, not anything other than that. And I have a really strong work ethic, so that's very important to me. I don't give a fuck what you look like, what you do in your personal life, but if you show up and you do the job, that says a lot to me. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand what the fucking fuck. This has to be by design. This has to literally be by design, and these mayors were put in place intentionally so that they can do this play in our faces, and so that then the overcorrection can happen. I'm convinced. Hey, Dragonfly. Dude, we're not doing anything exciting. You know, like nothing, there's no rush for anything. Just hanging out, chilling. Today I'm taking the day off and I'm doing literally this all day. And that's it. And then tomorrow I'm gonna go get my kiddo because I am so ready to have my baby back. Ribs. I'm gonna put you back outside if you're gonna sit in here and do this the whole freaking time, bud. I'm not eating food. I'm not eating any food without you. I'm not eating. You. What? Do you want a pig's ear? Is this what you want? Is this what you want right here? Is this what you want? Can you say, can I have this, please? You could use your words, not the whining. You know the drill. Up, up. Sit on Orly's bed. Orly's bed. Sit. Good boy. Go ahead.
How
So
she's spending the money. So it seems like these mayors who have no experience, they get into these positions and then start spending like drunken sailors. And then on top of that, they start traveling the world. Like, remember Hinyard? She went to Vegas. She's going to New York. She's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars traveling out of Dalton for no reason at all.
Credit card records show Henyard and her team have charged taxpayers more than $102,000 for trips they've taken in the past year. That includes a stay at the Four Seasons in Atlanta and a $13,000 hotel tab in New York City. Township taxpayers also paid for a trip to Las Vegas.
You can go to Las Vegas?
Caught in 4K.
What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Oh, it's so cringy.
Were you?
I can't look. Whenever they get caught, I can't look. I can't watch. It's so cringy. Pfizer executive confronted over cancer and COVID vax. I can't play this on my YouTube, or I'll get the kibosh. Oh, I'm hearing some really good theories about this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively thing. Did everybody forget about who Ryan Reynolds really is? Like really? Did we forget when Ryan Reynolds first came on the acting scene? That movie Waiting, that shit was like basically his personality. He was a dick, an asshole, jerk dick. And then, has anybody ever watched Deadpool? His personality in Deadpool? It's almost exactly like the character from Waiting, except for with a superhero twist. I wonder why that could be. Could it be that he's actually like that in real life? A dick? And it just like, I mean, like, he's got that fucking hair lip smarmy guy thing. Ryan Reynolds, when he smiles, like that smile, that specific, his personality shows very clearly on his face. Are we all really surprised? Yes, people are surprised. They're like, oh my God, Ryan Reynolds is such a guy. He's Deadpool. Oh, Deadpool. Y'all are some easily bamboozled ass people if you just think that, like, he acted in Deadpool, that means he's good. He's a good actor. But is he really a good actor, or is his personality just so interesting, you know what I mean? He's got a lot of personality, he's got a lot of charisma, and therefore he's just able to kind of be himself and say the words. And that's why he gets hired, is because people want to see him do his thing. The reason he's popular is because of college, like, Daniel Tosh style humor. Like, hello, people. Also, I do believe that I'm starting to speculate, and I have this thought that perhaps, and maybe, Blake Lively might be in an abusive relationship. And I'm thinking that Ryan Reynolds, like, just based on some of the stuff that I have, like, kind of anecdotally observed in general, like, I think that perhaps there's something going on there. Like, she maybe doesn't care and puts up with it, you know, and she may be just, like, very patient and tolerant or whatever. But there's something about that guy. I don't know. You know? I mean, I do know he's a dick.
Hello, everybody. How are you
Let's
doing?
hear
this
what BJ
fine
has to say about it.
Friday? Whew, okay, so Blake Lively, you might have heard, she tried to get she's trying to get a gag order on Justin Baldoni and his lawyers. I think they named Brian Friedman. This was filed a couple days ago. And a lot of people think that it was filed in response to the fact that Justin Baldoni's lawyers have been leaking never before seen behind the scene footage, or not even behind the scenes footage, but sort of like outtakes or full audio of certain scenes. I didn't really talk about this because it's my belief that I am being targeted by a group of individuals who wants to pretend like I leak stuff that's already public. So out of an abundance of caution and for my own safety and my own self-preservation while I get to the bottom of this, I just didn't even want to talk about anything that was leaked. Because remember whenever they were putting in the stupid tabloids that, I mean, I've never even really heard of before, that I was leaking information about J-Lo being Celebrity B, which was not true. So I'm just like trying to stay away from leaks. So I didn't really even talk about it. Just trying to stick to the court documents. But there was some interesting stuff in that footage. Like there was certain things that, I mean, I think it kind of made...
yeah.
I appreciated Andy Popcorn Planet's coverage of this, and I pretty much echo most of his sentiments. Everything I remember him saying, I do echo. I don't know exactly, I don't remember verbatim, but the gist was that this behind the scene tape that got leaked, and it was leaked through Justin Baldoni. The gist of what Andy's analysis was, and what I actually think too, is that it didn't really make Justin Baldoni look like the hero of the story either. It kind of didn't do any favors to either one of them, other than showing that the truth of the matter of these two tellings of the story did kind of lie somewhere in the middle. It kind of lied somewhere in the middle. Now, it did disprove some of the things that Justin Baldoni had said, but it also disproved some of the things that Blake Lively had said. So this tape gets leaked, okay? So like the next day, very next day after the tape gets leaked, I mean, it's all over the news and everything, this tape. And it's like them dancing and doing like a B-roll scene where they're kind of chit-chattering out of character, but they should have been in character. Blake Lively very clearly and obviously is the first to do that. She's very clearly and obviously the very first one to break character, because she's talking about like, she's directing the scene. She's like dancing with their dancing. And she's like, I think we should be talking. I think we should be talking. And she's directing the scene of how it should look, but while she's dancing in the character of Lily Bloom, or whatever, the actor, the character she's playing from the story. So the very next day in court, Blake Lively files in court in the Southern District of New York in both of the cases, her case against Baldoni and Baldoni's case against Blake Lively. Blake Lively files the very next day after this tape is leaked and all over the news and all over YouTube and everything. She files in court requests for a gag order. She wants Justin Baldoni's lawyers to stop talking about the case. She wants there to be restrictions on their speech and stuff like that. And I didn't even cover that in a video over here on this channel. I was going to, I just haven't had the chance to do it. Plus there was like a lot of coverage on it and I didn't really feel like I needed to. Well, y'all, breaking news. Breaking news, Justin Baldoni and them's lawyer has responded. Now, I was expecting to see this letter filed by Brian Friedman, but it has been filed by a man by the name of Kevin Fritz. Actually, let me cover up his number. Even though it is public information on the public docket, and it is a public business number that anyone can look up and call, I just have to be extremely careful because I get held to a different standard than everybody else on the internet, and I'll be being blamed for stuff that everybody's been talking about for 3 weeks. Okay, so that's just, I don't know why. I don't know why it is that I have to be held to a different standard than everybody else, but apparently that's just how it works. Okay, so here's the letter. This was filed yesterday by Justin Baldoni's lawyer. Now, this man is a man by the name of Kevin Fritz, which again, this is not Brian Friedman, which I did expect Brian Friedman to be the lawyer on this, but we did get a little mention over there in Blake Lively's lawsuit that Brian Friedman might end up being a witness to this stuff himself because he has a personal friendship with none other than Jed Wallace. And y'all, I don't know why it is. All my Jed Wallace content, it's getting really suppressed. I don't know why. Like the other content I make about other stuff in this story just doesn't seem to be getting the same type of treatment, but it's very interesting to me. Okay, so this lawyer, Kevin Fritz, he says, as the lawyer for Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath and all of them, I'm writing concerning alleged extrajudicial statements. Contrary to the inflammatory allegations in Blake Lively's letter, we have not violated any rules of professional conduct. The rule they're citing, 3.6a, prohibits a lawyer participating in a civil matter from making outside of court statements that, quote, will have a substantial likelihood of materially prejudicing an adjudicative proceeding. So it would have to have a substantial likelihood of materially prejudicing a court proceeding in the matter. Baldoni and them's lawyer says, putting aside that no such materially prejudicial statements have even been made, there's also an exception in that rule, even if we wanted to make such statements. And the exception allows a lawyer to make statements that are, quote, required to protect their client from the substantial prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. Okay, so there's an exception. Baldoni's lawyers are saying, first of all, we have not made any materially prejudicing or whatever statements. We haven't done that. Nobody's done that over here. But even if we did, it would have fallen under this exception. And the exception is when there's already media, there's already a PR push going on, and there's already harm being done to somebody's reputation, and that's my client, I'm allowed to speak. The Lively parties provided the New York Times with Blake Lively's otherwise confidential administrative complaint. So this was a confidential document, and they gave it to the New York Times. It wasn't public until they did that. They also provided, quote, thousands of pages of original documents, including text messages and emails. In its bombshell story, quote, we can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine, the New York Times regurgitated Blake Lively's allegations along with an array of cherry-picked, altered, and misleadingly spliced communications.
It was one fucking emoji,
utterly
and it doesn't
calamitous
change the way that the sentence
for Justin
is really
Baldoni
read,
and the other Wayfarer parties, who instantly became objects of public scorn and contempt. So he's saying this was private text communications and otherwise not yet public court filings. They gave them to the New York Times. That story then was published with cherry-picked statements, altered and misleadingly spliced communications. And it was an utterly calamitous result for their reputations. That's what Baldoni's lawyers arguing. Already, the Wayfarer parties have been exiled from polite society and suffered damages totaling hundreds of millions of dollars due to Blake Lively's scorched earth media campaign. The coordinated public drop of her administrative complaint and the New York Times story, which the Lively parties do not deny orchestrating, began a very much ongoing attempt to rehabilitate Blake Lively's image at the expense of Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties. The lawyer says immediately after the Wayfarer parties filed their complaint against
Would
Blake
you like
Lively,
to go back outside
Blake
and lay in the
Lively's
grass
lawyer
for a
went
little
on
while?
record publicly describing the lawsuit by Baldoni as a, quote, another chapter in the abuse playbook. And Mr. Baldoni is apparently a, quote, abuser. This was in the Hollywood Reporter. As recently as 2 days ago, Justin Baldoni and them's lawyer says, Blake Lively and them, their lawyer, publicly described the contents of video footage relating to this dispute and these allegations as, quote, damning. So the lawyers out here calling stuff damning evidence. The lawyers went on and said more, quote, any woman who has been inappropriately touched in the workplace will recognize Blake Lively's discomfort. In the context of a media feeding frenzy, the lawyer says, initiated by Blake Lively, which has already harmed all us over here, and it continues to do ongoing harm to the personal and professional lives of them. The lawyer says, I actually believe adamantly and in good faith that a, quote, public response is required in order to avoid prejudice to my clients, Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer and them. Like, I am literally obligated to say something publicly. Like, I have to be able to speak on this because Blake Lively is the one that initiated this. She did so by putting private communications and private information, not private, because the complaint would have eventually, I believe, become public, and it should be public. Public filing should be public. Court filing should be public. However, the full context is that it was a coordinated 1-2. The complaint came out, the New York Times article came out, boom, boom. And then all these text messages are leaked, which are previously thought to be private. You know, these are personal communications from my personal cell phone. The lawyer's saying all of that happened. So fine, whatever, let's sort it out in court. But in the meantime, I have to be able to talk. I have to be able to defend back whenever Blake Lively's lawyers are all up in the news talking about calling my client an abuser. And I'll be honest with y'all, my perspective, I think these are very strong arguments. I don't see how possibly Blake Lively's lawyers are going to be able to reconcile this and say, no, we should be able to go and make these things public. We should be able to go make public statements calling people abusers. But they can't say nothing back and their lawyers can't talk? No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I love the way that this looks.
Maybe for something more narrowly tailored, like maybe like don't leak any more behind the scenes footage. But even still, I mean, isn't it his footage? Doesn't he own it? Can't he do whatever he feels like with it? I don't know. We're going to have to see. Having publicly made ruinous allegations that the Wayfarer parties can prove are false, Blake Lively and them now invoke attorney disciplinary rules as an intimidation tactic. Well, I mean, I know how this feels. Because
what is going on with you?
When she couldn't get her way in court and silence my free speech, she kept losing. She lost in 2 jurisdictions more than once. Multiple repeated continuous times.
Ready? Gonna go outside and go lay down?
She's tried to blame my followers who I've never spoken to, who I've denounced, tried to blame them then for behaviors that apparently never happened because she's never provided any evidence any of it happened. When that just didn't work, and I guess when her smear campaign hit piece attempt to lie about me on television really hasn't worked, although it has harmed me, and I continue to suffer harm from it. Then Lima tried to point her finger at her own lawyer. The one who had defended her bullshit the whole time. It was his fault. She wanted him to have to pay the sanctions that she actually owes. And I mean, it was really a whole circus show. But that didn't work. And then with very few people left to point the finger at except for herself, Lima now attempts to do this very similar thing to my lawyer. She's trying to get, I don't know, sanctions or something. I mean, the woman is unhinged. I believe she needs a brain scan. I mean, I'm not an expert in brain scans. She is. Maybe she could do an evaluation. I do not know. She may benefit from aura. I'm really not sure. But I've seen this before. I've seen this tactic before. This right here. Having publicly made ruinous allegations against somebody that somebody can prove is false. Now this person grasping at straws wants to, the attorneys know they did something. Completely ignoring everything they themselves had done in the first place to cause these things. The lawyer goes on, the Lively party's desire to force the Wayfarer parties to defend themselves privately against allegations made publicly is not a proper basis for a gag order. Woo, that's a good one. Lively and them's desire to force Justin Baldoni and them to defend themselves privately. We got to go do the defense all private after y'all made these public allegations. No, that's not grounds for a gag order. Try again, sweetheart. This is tactical gamesmanship, and it is outrageous. If, as Blake Lively and them suggest, such a protective order is formally requested, it should be denied. We look forward to further discussing the matter on February 12th at the initial pretrial conference. It seems like these are strong arguments. I don't see how Blake Lively gets around these. I mean, it is true. It wasn't public till it was in the New York Times. And the New York Times article came out right as this complaint came out. So it does look like it's something very public they should be allowed to speak about just from their own First Amendment right. But on top of that, always remember, we, the people in the United States, under these laws, also have the protected right to know what's going on in our institutions, who's using them, how, what they're saying, because the courts are our institutions. These are not private courts for private celebrities. You brought it to court, baby girl, so the public gets to see it and the public gets to know about it. I mean, there's very few reasons to keep things sealed from the public, especially for a long term. And then even since the other lawyer has come out and she's talking about calling, what's his name, an abuser. This is the abuse tactic. So she gets to go out and say that, but Brian Friedman can't also say stuff equal. I don't see them winning it, but I am interested to see how they do respond. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.
Now you want to come back inside? I just want to sit around and do this all day. Oops, just made that a little too tight last time. Drives me crazy how it looks elevated like this. Why does it do that? Is it just because of the colors? I think it's because of the way that it's on the raw thing and the color. Yeah. It's just the way my brain is doing things. Are you ready to come back inside? Yeah, it's a nice day out. Just stay outside. Lay down outside. Enjoy the view. Oh yeah, that's right. There was a blizzard in Florida. I want to knit an emotional support chicken. Wait, no. Hundreds more layoffs at CNN. Ooh, wow.
You might be hearing a lot of noise in the background. My kids are home from school because it's summer
No
break.
shit.
So this is family life.
My mom, when she was 18, she got married, and my grandfather had always said, oh, it'll be a cold day in hell when a man marries you. And it actually snowed in Florida that day. It was like 1978 or 79, I think.
Balance, how do you call it? Work-life balance. Here you go. It's work-life balance that I'm trying to achieve here. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. We're gonna talk today about knitted socks. Socks is a big subject that I see questions on every single day on my French channel, and I have quite a bit of it. Socks. I've knitted, many, and these are not even all of them. Those are the ones that I kind of pulled out of my sock drawer today to talk about. I want to go through the socks that I still own that I've knitted and maybe talk about the positives and the negatives of those particular socks so I can give you an insight on what to think about when you choose a pair of socks, needles, yarn to make those socks. I've made the mistakes and I've made the tests, the things that I like and the things that I don't in my sock knitting journey, so hopefully it can be of some use to you. And I know that the last time I did a video where I talked about my favorite tops and why I like them after wearing them for a season or two, people liked it because it gives a real life experience of what works or not. Because it's one thing to knit something and then say, I love it, it's amazing, and you've never really worn it. But it's another thing to come back years later and say, well, I actually do love it, or maybe I should have done this differently. Let's get into them. I'm not going to go into chronological order or in like most favorite to least favorite. I'm just going to comment on all the pairs that I pull out of there. Okay, let's start with this. Awesome. This is a pair of socks that is using a self-striping yarn. Yes, it's been worn quite a bit. It's not brand new socks. It even has a beautiful patch here, right there. Those are socks that I knit from the top down with a, I believe this was a fish lips kiss heel, which is a type of short row heel that uses shadow wrap as the preferred method for the short rows, and it just has a few little things that are a little bit different than a regular short row heel. And I did a classic wedge toe. These are quite fun because the stripe repeat is there's a lot of colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 colors in the repeat, which is so much fun. And I didn't really try to make them equal, but it turns out that when I was done with the first sock, the color I ended with was the color that I needed to start again with. So everything was quite perfect for those. I love them. The only thing that I have an issue with is the depth of this Fish Lips Kiss heel, which brings me to, let's talk about a different pair. Let's talk about, I have an idea in particular that I want to say. This one. Okay. So this one, again, is a self-striping yarn. This one is from Timber Yarn's Twin Socks, and it's Royal City is the name of the colorway. And I loved it because it came in 2 different already split balls so that the 2 socks are exactly the same, and I didn't have to plan it. So the balls were wound up with the stripe repeat exactly the same way. When I knit socks, I use about somewhere around 55 to 60 grams of yarn. So I don't need much to knit my socks, okay? When I have 100 grams like this, I used probably, 30 grams of one ball, 30 grams of the other, and I had a big leftovers where I could make socks for my daughters, or I can make leftover socks with them. So you don't technically need more than 100 grams of yarn to make regular sized sock. When I'm talking about regular sized sock, my husband wears 10 and a halves, and I do use the entire 100 grams of wool if I want to make him tall socks. When I'm making him shorties, he needs more than 50 grams. So this is how much you need for a fingering weight yarn, first of all. I love those. I did make them toe up. So, toe up, top down. What's the difference? Well, when you're doing a short row heel, there's not much of a difference because the heel is going to be worked exactly the same way, whether you're going top down or toe up. In this case, I did a little mini gusset. So I added a mini gusset in the heel, and what it does is it broadens this part here. So when I'm wearing these, what happens is those stitches at the top of my foot here tend to really stretch out a lot, and then my heel slides down a little bit on my foot because of the lack of space I get here. Whereas just a little mini gusset here, it literally adds 4 stitches total in the round. So I'm adding stitches on either side of my heel. I don't knit them in the heel. I keep them on the side, and then I decrease them later when I'm done. I was going the opposite. I increase and then I decrease because I was going toe up. It just gives just enough more space for my foot to be comfortable in a short row heel. You can do that on a regular like German short row heel, a shadow wrap heel, even a Fish Lips Kiss heel, whatever type of short row heel you do, you can add a mini gusset. The one I use in this one is from Mina Phillips, which is the knitting expat. It's called Mina's Vanilla Sock Recipe, and she has her formula to do a mini gusset. I really like those. The yarn is great. And yeah, I used I used the other end of the ball. So when I'm knitting with self-striping socks and I don't want to interrupt. So here, my sock is exactly the same, like this, the thickness of every stripe is the same. If I'm doing a short row heel and I just keep using the same ball of wool, I might end up having a thin stripe here or 2 thin stripes before it gets to big stripes again. So what I do is I knit, and when I get to the heel, I take the other side, the other end of the ball. I knit the heel with that other end of the ball without cutting the first end, and then I let go, I cut it, and I keep knitting. So I have the heel in the right colorway, but it doesn't disrupt the stripes. I love doing that. Whereas this one was a different ball. I had a contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs. Also, just a little bit difference here. 2x2 ribbing, 1x1 ribbing. I don't really prefer one or the other. It's just two different things. Sometimes I pick one, sometimes I pick the other. Let's keep going with my self-striping yarns. Why not? They're fun. I really love self-striping yarn because it feels like you're doing a whole lot, but you're not. And the colors are endless. So this was an experiment. These are the Vanilla is the New Black pattern by Anne Fletcher. And it is mostly, the thing that's different is this heel. So it's like this, you go out to create the heel flap, and then you do some back and forth to close up that kind of bottom of the foot. I don't really like these. I think that this type of heel doesn't fit me very well. You see how wide the foot becomes? I think it would be great for a high arch if you have a very big like section around the heel and the coup de pied, we call it in French, the neck of the foot.
Honestly, I think that
could be very good for you, but for me it's too big.
I think knitting is easier than crochet in some ways, and it's more difficult in others. With crochet, your versatility is endless. With knitting, it's like pretty much on the round, so you're making a tube or you're making a rectangle, which you can go anywhere from like a section like this, you can go anywhere from that. And you can also just knit your sweater neck down, like the whole sweater all the way down, and you, by doing that, you can like try it on and stuff like that, so that's nice. Crochet is harder in the sense that it's more my hands get more tired from crochet, but the patterns and the things that you can do with crochet, it's like endless. Like you could do like the mandala vests, you could do like there's just so much to it, and I haven't found a way yet to replicate that. You have to crochet in order to get the mandala style vests, like with how you have like the double crochet. Like in order to have that, I think you have to do crochet. I think what I would prefer personally would be a mixture of the two. So yeah, I think a mixture of the two would be nice, with the like complicated designs you can do with the crochet tool, but then like the nice tight weave of the knitting makes, I mean, like, this shit is awesome. I like knitting better than crocheting, but I also have been getting the itch to crochet again now that I'm knitting, because I want to make myself one of those mandala vests. So, but I'm picking this up because I really want to learn how to make stockings, leg warmers, hand warmers, shit like that. That's why I wanted to teach myself this, is so that I can know how to do that stuff. Orly, buddy, please, you gotta chill, friend. I'm not eating anything, Orly. I'm not eating. I'm just sitting here, man. Please, it's my day off. You're gonna make me have to like literally get in the car and leave, because I cannot sit here and listen to this all day. I love you so much. I wish that you would get in the car and go for a ride with me, but you won't. I could take you on an adventure. We could go do something, but you will not get in the car. And now you're too heavy for me to pick up on my own. If I leave the house, I gotta go do stuff, and I don't want to go do stuff. I'm trying to give myself a break because I'm starting to get into burnout mode. So I need to literally sit here and do absolutely nothing. I really don't want to talk very much either. I just want to sit here and just do this with my hands. What are you doing? Don't lick that stuff off of you. Oh, I'm sitting on my fucking hair. Stop. 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 Calm it down. God damn it. I'm starting to get irritated. Sitting on my fucking hair. All I want to do is just sit here and just do this. That's it. I don't want to bother nobody. I just want to just sit here and do this. I just want to sit here quietly and just do this. That's all I want to do.
Also, I don't know if it's the wool or if it's the size needles I used, because at some point I started reducing or using smaller needles to make my socks because I noticed that I didn't like the fabric it created. It created a fabric that was too drapey for socks. So personally, I like to knit my socks a little tighter. They're not ultra tight, but kind of, you know, if it's 8 to 8.5 stitches per inch. And in order to create that, I use size US 1 or 2.5 millimeter needles. No, not 2.5, 2.25. 2.25 millimeter needles or US 1 are the needles that I use when I knit socks all the time. If I use bigger than that, I don't like the fabric it creates. And also, the looser the fabric, the more wear you'll get faster. So in order to prevent having holes faster, knitting tighter is a great way to do it. Obviously, at some point, too tight is not fun to knit. And so I'm not saying to you knit at an uncomfortable gauge, but if you can tighten it up a little bit, it's always good. I'm, after 14 years, at a point where I want to test going down one more needle size. So I always have, I have all my needles. I have magic loop, so really long needle that I don't use very often because that's not my favorite way of doing socks. I have these Addy Flexi Flips that are great for knitting socks. They replace double pointed needles. I have a pair of double pointed needles. I've used them to film some tutorials and they work, and I like them okay, but it's not my favorite way of doing socks. But these are what I love the most for knitting socks, which are the mini circulars. They are 9-inch long, so 23 centimeters, and I absolutely love. I do all of my sock on this needle except the toes. It's really difficult to do the toes in here because at some point there's not enough stitches to reach. So at that point, I either go for magic loop or I go for the Flexi Flips, which I discovered recently, and I think that's going to be my go-to now for doing the toes of my socks. So needles, right? So what I was saying is, I think that probably these socks would have benefited from being knit at a tighter gauge because the wool is quite loosey-goosey. It's Scrumptious Pearl is the brand, and I absolutely love the color, and I have no problem with the actual yarn. It's just I wish I had knitted it at a tighter gauge. It's starting to wear a hole here. My socks, I'm really hard on my socks. I always wear holes in my socks. I haven't found a solution, which is why I think my next pair of socks, I want to try knitting them, knit one on 2.25 millimeter, and then knit one on 2 millimeter, and then wear them both at the same time to see at what rate they're gonna wear, and see if it makes a difference to knit tighter, and see if I enjoy it. That's my next experiment. So that being said, those not a great fit for me, but if you have a high arch, it might be a great pattern for you. I do have quite a few pairs that have a heel flap and gusset. I love a heel flap and gusset for my foot. It fits really well. I would say that out of all the socks I have, the heel flap and gusset and a short row heel with a mini gusset are the two styles that I like the most. What I love about a heel flap and gusset is it's highly customizable. You can knit I have a general like vanilla recipe for everyone. When I teach how to knit socks, I always take the same calculations in order to make the heel flap and gusset. This one is top down. And then once you've knit one pair, then there's things that you can do to customize it. So you can knit obviously the heel flap longer, and if you knit that flap longer, it means that it's going to create more depth here because you're going to be picking up more stitches, and so you're going to get a deeper heel. But if you knit the heel flap shorter, then it's going to create less space and a less deep heel. So those are things that you can customize, which I absolutely love. And the only thing that I love less about
I'm
a
not
heel
eating
flap and gusset,
food.
and I don't have.
I'm not eating food.
I'll show you. This is a little selfless plug.
I'm not eating.
This is a book.
There's no
I
food
wrote
here.
This year, so it's called Les Chaussettes dont vous êtes le héros, and it's all the different sections of a sock that are put together in a book in order for you to create your own socks. Unfortunately, it's only in French right now. I'm still, if you are someone in the editing industry, I'm still looking for someone to pick it up in English. I'm absolutely 100% want to translate this book and have it in English, but for now it's only in French. So one of the sock in here, I'll find it. Oh, this one has the heel flap and gusset in a contrasting color. One thing that I think, in my personal opinion, I think that a short row heel looks better in a contrasting heel
Baby,
than this one. Because,
please
like,
fucking
this
stop,
one kinda
buddy.
stops
There's
here. You
absolutely
can't
nothing that
really
you need.
keep going with the color only on that part of the heel because you're going in the round. Which
You've been given treats, you've been given pig's
completely
ear,
different
you've
with,
gone
you
and
know,
hung out
a short row
outside.
heel has the look of
We
like
cuddled
a
this
sports
morning
sock,
already for like 2
and
hours.
I like the look of that in a contrasting color. So, you know, there's pros and cons to everything, but a heel flap and gusset is a great way to have a very well-fitting sock. Again, this one was not knit top down. It's Tiny Human Knits wool, and what else? Tutu rib. Those were tutu rib. I have a lot of tutu rib, tutu and 1-1, and a classic wedge toe. Not much more to talk about for this one. Oh, my only, my one and only pair of all over color work. So the pattern is called Les Moutons de Biscotte by Louise Robert, and it looks like this. It's very cute with
It looked like the cat jumped up on the door
and a little
on the camera.
Colorful. You know, this sole is solid because it's a 2-color sole. It has a thicker feel, so it won't wear off as fast. Those I've had for a very long time, and I haven't had to patch it at all yet, which is surprising to me.
There's nobody
I also don't wear
outside.
them as
There's no
much,
little dogs
though,
outside or anything right now.
Because they are a colorwork sock, they're thicker, so in my socks
He does usually
they
do that
don't
when there's
fit
somebody
as well.
outside.
And also, one thing that I do not like
been
about
doing it a
these
lot
socks
lately.
is the ribbing. It's a corrugated rib, so it means it's a 2-color rib. It is super pretty. Love it. Very cute. But corrugated rib does not stretch very much. So if I were to do these
Fuck, I
socks
messed
again,
up on a stitch right
I would do a
here.
regular ribbing. I mean, technically I could unpick and knit it again because it's knit bottom up.
I was literally just
But they're
thinking
way
that.
too old for me to want to work on them again. And yeah, I don't have the wool anymore. So I would change the ribbing if I were to knit them again. Also, all over colorwork socks are a lot of work, and you have to make sure that your foot fits in it. So my recommendation is to generally go up a few, like 1 or 2 needle size to knit colorwork socks, even if when you knit colorwork your tension is the same as if you knit stockinette. I would still go up a few needle size because you need extra stretch in a sock, and when you're knitting colorwork, automatically your work will not be as stretchy as regular knitting. So this is the stretch that I get on these socks, whereas this is the stretch I get on these socks. There's a lot more stretch, so it's easier to put my foot through it. So if you're ever gonna start a all over colorwork, and even just like a section of colorwork socks, try them on quickly. Try to pass them onto your foot quickly to know if you're doing great. I do have another one that has a section of colorwork, but I don't have them here. It's fine. All right, this was Tough Love sock from Sweet Georgia Yarns, and it's true, they're tough love. You can give them tough love and they're gonna stay good for a long while. Speaking of staying good for a long while versus maybe not, I've learned over the years that I really love, like these two are socks that are not merino. These are not merino, and this one is British wool, and this one is probably BFL. And I've learned that about myself. I really love a wool that is not merino for socks, because merino, it is super pretty, super soft, and all of these that I showed you before, merino. A lot of people use merino to dye on, and because it is soft, which is great. And I will still keep knitting them because I love the colorways that I can find in merino wool, merino nylon. But if I can find myself a different, like more textured, more rustic feeling wool, I will go for that because they are longer wearing. Generally BFL or any kind of more long stapled wool will be less soft but more hard wearing, which I absolutely love. So this is the Into the Woods, and out of woods, and not before dawn. If you're a theater kid. Yes, Into the Woods by Melody Offman. So they are so cute. They start from the top down, and they have these beautiful little like tree look, so that's why I absolutely wanted to knit it in green. The Humble sock base is not available anymore because it was Humble Knit, and Humble Knit now dyes for Espace Tricot. So Espace Tricot does have fingering weight yarn for socks if you want to go look it up. I absolutely love those. They are a heel flap and gusset, top down with a wedge toe. The one thing that's different about these is it has a little ridge. It has a little garter ridge here in the gusset in order to pick up the stitches on that side and that side. It's not my favorite. I personally don't feel like the look is better. I don't really like the look of it. And I don't mind picking up stitches in a regular slip stitch edge. So I don't see the attrait. I don't see the reason why I would add this garter stitch ridge to the side when I actually don't really love the look of it. So if I were to do those again, I would just not do the garter ridge. Another heel flap and gusset, but this one is on a lace sock. I don't have many lace socks. I don't have many. They take a lot of time and they're very pretty, but I'm kind of a simple sock kind of girl. So
oh my god, that
I wear
smells
them.
so good.
I love them. They're very pretty. These one are called Rocky Shores by Tracy Miller of the Grocery Girls podcast. And they're really great. Like the yarn is from Red Sock Blue Sock yarn, and I love wearing them. But yeah, lots of complicated stuff. Usually I knit socks when I'm walking, when I'm talking, as a no-brainer kind of knit. So adding that much detail to a sock for me kind of
I had a lot of You know what kind of videos I've been seeing a bit of right now, even though I think it's almost a month gone at this point, is Christmas haul videos. Now, I did end up getting myself a gift, but can you imagine if you were a kid in the 1970s and you got this Mattel Knit Magic So Easy knitting machine? This is basically a toy CSM. Not quite big enough to make adult socks, but let's take a closer look, shall we? We've got the instruction booklet, very important. Mattel's finest knitting machine. A little darning needle, although it looks like either a dog or a kid chewed on that. And a few pieces broke. So I thought it would be really fun to play around with a knitting machine toy and see what exactly we can make. Okay, it's not the smoothest in operation. There seems to be one spot that's a little sticky. Maybe the instructions can help. Okay, so we have how to knit a tube, and the first project is a little fluffy bee. How cute is that? I am 100% making a fluffy bee. There's so many projects you can make in here. A pair of pom-pom slippers. Now, based on the size of the panel, my guess is going to be that it's for a child, so that's definitely not going to fit me, but it's a cool idea. Before we run Let's Walk, let me grab some yarn. I'm going to have to take my best guess as to the thickness of the yarn based on the picture that I can see here. Let's get some yarn and let's figure out how to knit a tube. I've always been inspired by clever designs, and it's not just really fun vintage knitting machines that have caught my eye recently. I've also been thinking about how to make smarter, greener choices at home. For example, when it comes to every kit. White yarn, and it looks a little bit thicker maybe on the screen. Tell really wants to join in with what we're doing. Oh, good job. Is this a good yarn choice? Yeah, you approve? Yeah, okay. Okay, we're gonna follow this instruction book together, okay? To make a tube. Well, lesson 1. You studied it closely? Okay, good. I did not. Move this, oh, there is a switch. Goes P and T. Oh, P. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. It wasn't T, which I wanted. Oh, I regret that action immediately. Oh, now I have black stuff on my hands. Good, good, good. Move the switch to the tube. Oh, one is plain, which means that you can knit more easily back and forth. Okay, and then the other one is tube. Okay. We're back in the tube position. Find the loose end of yarn and drop it inside till it touches the tabletop. Drape the yarn under the hook on the first needle. Turn the crank away from you. Drape behind the next needle. Oh, we're casting on. Okay, this is casting on by another name. Alternate until all needles are threaded. I'll bring you a little closer. You can see what I'm doing because I'm sure you're confused, just like I was. We're basically trying to cast on, so since I just put the yarn under this hook, I'm gonna crank forward and we're gonna go behind the next one, and then in front of the next one, and then behind that one, in front of the next one, behind, in front, and then the last needle should be behind.
I think Perfect. I might go take a nap.
Put the yarn through the yarn guide. Oh, no, we have to do like this.
These are heavy.
And then like that. Raise the tension arm. Slide your yarn into the top slot. Oh, like this. Okay, like that. Lovely. Thread the yarn over and through the second slot. Oh, it's like this. Okay, so we're weaving it like that. Oh, interesting. That's a really nice, that's kind of like the tension in between my fingers when I'm knitting. I have it woven through my fingers. That's kind of what this is doing. And now you are ready to practice knitting a tube. I'm gonna start cranking in a second, but the main thing that worries me about this knitting machine setup is that there are no weights on the inside of this machine, or like pulling down on the knitting work as I'm knitting. And I can't 100% see the whole action of the needle as it's going down because there's some bits that are obscured, but I don't know if there's something like a sinker plate, because either the weight or the sinker plate helps those stitches form. And without either of those, I mean, I guess there has to be a sinker plate that I just can't see. I'm just gonna keep knitting and see if we're forming stitches or if we're forming problems. Yeah, there's bits of it where it's a little catchy. We're already on the second row of some of the stitches. It's looking good. Okay. Oh, yeah, there's a few times where it just gets a little, I have to rattle it a bit. It runs smoother in the other direction. Just gonna keep going and see how many rounds we can do. It's really not having a good time. It is definitely forming a tube. If I wanted to stuff this in any sort of way, it wouldn't work. You need much thicker yarn, but take a look. Isn't that forming quite nicely? On knitting machines, you're always gonna see the wrong side of the work being formed. So this is like the purl side or wrong side of the work that you're seeing. But so far, no missed stitches or anything like that, nothing dropped, and it's looking quite good. So to get it off, I usually just hold it like this. What does our first piece look like? Oh, it's cute. Okay, that works so well. You can actually pull it a bit, but the yarn is definitely way too thin if we wanted to stuff it with anything. Let's go find some thicker yarn, but that worked really well. This is really sweet. Okay, I went searching through my stash and I found this pink yarn, but I don't know if it's quite thick enough. So step one is just gonna be to try it and see if we get anywhere. I wonder if there's some sort of like oil or silicone that I could use on these parts to loosen them up some, but I feel like there's some things that are unintentionally solvents or dissolvers for plastics, and I don't know what type of plastic was used in the 70s for this, so don't know that I want to risk it. The second sample of knitting is much better than the first, much more solid stitches, although I still feel like if I were to stuff this, there would be some stuffing that comes out. I found even thicker yarn. I think this might be bearing weight.
Seriously.
So let's hope that this one will work. Let's start by casting on again.
Amazing. I am obsessed with this stitch.
Oh, it's not as smooth as before. I feel like I might be at the limit of size, and like this yarn is also quite frictiony. It's not as smooth as the other one, so I feel like I'm finding the limits of this machine right now. Don't really want to test the limits of it though. I mean, it's working, it's just not as smooth. I'm gonna have to start making the fluffy bee, and it says to knit 20 rows. Now, I was not counting, I have to be honest. I'm gonna say, based on what I can see, that we're on row 3. We have 17 to go. 10.
Okay, I'm gonna go take a nap.
20.
I'm gonna lay down and
One
knit.
for good luck.
Yes, no, yes, they have a hook on them, but they're not the ones that have this kind of hook. That kind of hook is a latch hook. The crochet tool just has a little hook.
Our tube is out. Look at that tube. Okay, so I haven't pulled it yet. You're supposed to.
But it's not a huge hook. It's just like a small. It's not like a hook like that. It's like a little tiny thing.
I love it.
All right, I'm gonna go.
You can
I'm gonna go close my eyes. I can't do this. I can't. I'm gonna start nodding out knitting, and I don't want to do that. I want to lay down and close my eyes and give my body what it's asking me for. So, see you later, guys.